Narrative text. By Neri and Exediawan, S.Pd, Gr. English class with Mr. Neri. What exactly is a narrative text? A narrative text is a kind of text that tells a story. It can be based on true events, completely made up, or even a mix of both. The main purpose of a narrative text is to entertain and sometimes to inform or teach a moral lesson. Narrative text. A narrative text usually presents a sequence of events that are connected by characters, conflict, and a meaningful resolution. When done right, it pulls the reader into another world, one where they can feel, think, and imagine right alongside the characters. Think of your favorite stories, whether it's Harry Potter, The Lion King, or a childhood tale told by your grandparents. They're all narrative texts. What are the characteristics of narrative text? 1. Using past tenses. Narrative texts are typically written in the past tense because they talk about events that already happened. This helps to give the story a clear sense of time and progression. Example. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind, generous old man. One day, as he was walking through the forest, he stumbled upon a giant squash. Amazed, he inched closer. In this example, you can spot the past tense verbs, lived, was walking, stumbled, amazed, and inched. These help place the story in the past and give it a traditional storytelling tone. 2. Using adverbials of time. Adverbials of time are expressions that show when something happened. They're used a lot in narrative texts to help guide the reader through the sequence of events. These could be specific, last week, yesterday morning, in 2001, or more general and story-like, long ago, one day, suddenly, later that evening. Example. Early one morning, Sarah decided to go for a jog in the park. As she jogged, the sun began to rise, casting a golden glow over the trees. Later that day, she met her friends for lunch and shared her morning adventure with them. Using time markers like early one morning and later that day helps the reader understand the timeline of the story. 3. Using adjectives. Adjectives help describe nouns. They add detail, emotion, and flavor to the story. They answer questions like: what kind? How many? Which one? Example. The brave knight entered the dark, mysterious forest, ready to face any challenges that lay ahead. In this sentence, the adjectives brave, dark, and mysterious create a vivid image and set the mood. 4. Using noun phrases. A noun phrase is a group of words that acts like a noun and gives more detail about a person, place, or thing. In narrative texts, these make descriptions richer and more engaging. Example. The bright morning sun cast a golden glow on the calm waters of the lake, creating a breathtaking view. Here, the bright morning sun and the calm waters of the lake are both noun phrases that enhance the visual imagery of the scene. What is the purpose and social function of a narrative text? The main purpose of a narrative text is to tell a story in an interesting and engaging way. But it doesn't stop there. Narrative texts can also teach moral lessons, like in fables. Share personal experiences. Preserve cultural traditions and history. Entertain readers with creative plots and exciting twists. Narrative texts also serve a social function. They help people connect through shared stories, understand different perspectives, and learn about values and traditions from different cultures. What does the structure of a narrative text look like? 1. Orientation. The orientation sets the stage for the story. This is where the characters, setting, time and place, and background information are introduced. When reading the orientation, we should be able to answer: who is involved in the story? Where and when does the story take place? 2. Complication. This is where the story starts to get interesting. The complication introduces the problem or conflict. It's what makes the story exciting and gives the characters a challenge to overcome. This part usually includes rising action, tension builds as the problem grows. Climax, the peak or most dramatic part. Falling action, the problem begins to resolve. 3. Resolution. In this part, the problem or conflict is solved. The resolution shows how the characters respond to the situation and what happens as a result. Sometimes, the resolution may be happy, other times it might be sad or even open-ended. 4. Reorientation/evaluation. This is an additional, but helpful, part that reflects on the story. It might explain the lesson, theme, or moral of the story. Think of it like the author stepping in to say, and here's why that mattered. Not all narrative texts include this section, but when they do, it helps reinforce the message or takeaway. Types of narrative texts. 1. Fictional narrative. These are imaginary stories, often created purely for entertainment. They can be fairy tales, fables, fantasy, or adventure stories. Types of narrative texts. 2. Autobiography. An autobiography is a narrative written by a person about their own life, from a first-person perspective. Types of narrative texts. 3. Biography. A biography is a narrative about someone else's life, written by another person. Types of narrative texts. 4. Memoir. A memoir is similar to an autobiography but focuses on specific moments or experiences in a person's life. Types of narrative texts. 5. Legend. A legend is a traditional story passed down through generations. It often contains elements of truth mixed with imagination and explains cultural origins or heroic deeds. Example of a narrative text. Luna and the Beast. In a magical forest lived a gentle deer named Luna, known for her kindness and healing touch. The forest was peaceful, until one morning, a terrifying beast arrived, shaking the earth with every step. Fear spread among the animals, and the forest fell into chaos. Seeking answers, the animals turned to Luna. Calmly, she said, "Let me speak with the beast." Though others warned her, Luna believed that anger often hides pain. At dawn, she followed the beast's trail and found it wounded, a thorn lodged in its paw. Gently, Luna removed the thorn and soothed the injury. The beast, no longer angry, sighed with relief. From then on, the beast changed. It helped rebuild the forest and protected its creatures. The animals, once fearful, grew to trust it. Luna's compassion became a legend, teaching all that empathy can transform fear into friendship, and that true strength comes from kindness. Now that you've learned all about narrative texts, from their definition, characteristics, and structure, to the types and a complete example, it's your turn to explore, analyze, and even create your own stories. What's the structure of the story above? Whether you want to write an epic fantasy, a heartwarming childhood memory, or a story inspired by your favorite pet, the tools are now in your hands. The best part? There's no single, correct, way to write a story. All you need is a spark of imagination and a willingness to start. Thank you.